Welcome everybody to Monday Morning Call with Paul and our special guest here, Pamela Sanchez. Super excited to have you on. Thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, Paul. This is an
Yeah.
honor. I
Well,
really
hey, it's really cool because I just want to give credit where credit's due. Andre and Ellie were like, we have to have Pamela on. She's just an amazing person, and what she's been able to accomplish at such a young age. And with that, how old are you, Pamela?
21.
21. Wow. So just like Amir, young, getting in the game and get going. Now, one of the things that we thought was pretty amazing is sort of your story, your background, right? And that being that you came from like a single family home. Your mom is the first one to come over to the United States, and you sort of talked about that. Can you kind of give us an idea? Because a lot of us haven't had those experiences. What was it like being first generation in the US?
For sure. So I feel like maybe it's a little cliche, but yeah, single mom. I grew up single mom household my whole life. And I think it really shaped me. I like to look at the positive ways of things, right?
Mhm.
Um, Honestly, I'm really glad actually I grew up in a single mom household because I wouldn't be the woman I am today if I didn't.
Right.
Being said, I started working and I just think all the independence that I see my mom do, I reflected on me, right? So
Oh,
my working two jobs, providing for the household, it's just me and her, and doing all she had to do, it really inspired me. So I started working when I was 16. I wanted to get into the work field. Honestly, my mom told me, you don't have to work. I have it. I got it. But I'm like, no,
yeah.
mom, I want to figure it out. I want to know what the workplace is like. And so, yeah, I got my first job when I was 16. From there, I just kept working until, 21. But that being said, when I was 18, it was a very I'll find the right word for this. It was just an interesting year for me, right? So
Hmm.
when I was 18, I was in a position with my mom where my mom was actually getting evicted from where we were currently living at.
Hmm.
So that being said, I started working when I was 16, right? I went and I bought a multi-unit. So at 18, I bought a two-unit. And I'll get more into that right now. But started working young, right? Had my taxes. So when you go and buy a property, you need to have certain things in place, right? You need 2 years of income, you need 2 years of taxes, and then you also need to you have to have a good credit score. So I had all that in place, right? Started working when I was 16, had my taxes, had everything. My grandma, great person. She had me as an authorized user on her credit card. So when I did turn 18, I walked into like 750 credit score. And I kind of went
Kind of
on.
before you keep going, right? Kind of explain to people because I think a lot of people are just learning about this. It's kind of a thing now on Instagram and everything, but how did being you an authorized user, how did that come about? How does that work?
So basically, I'm pretty sure you can do it for like any of your kids when they're under six, I think under 16, you can still do it. But basically it's just adding them onto their credit card. So say for
Mhm.
example, you have a credit card and you have kids, right? You just
Right.
add a credit card. And then obviously you have to maintain a good credit score. And now that
Right.
so then when I do turn 18, for example, you say your kids turn 18, they're gonna walk
Mhm.
in with some type of credit because
Yeah.
you credit for them. So that being said, my grandma did me a great favor. And obviously I have my own credit cards there too.
Yeah.
Easier for me because I already have some type of, and going into that, Paul, I think, and I was telling you this a little bit earlier too, just immigrants in general, I feel like it wasn't a lack of my mom just didn't want to try it and do anything. It was just a lack of education. And I think
Mhm.
that's a major thing for a lot of immigrant households and just immigrants in general. I think they just lack some type of education. And I think that's what happened with my mom. So that being said, yeah, a lot of people know about authorized user, but if you have kids, you should have them on
Yeah.
your.
Yeah. Um, it kind of makes sense, right? Because you're saying here, I'm at 16, I start working, I start credit, and then you get to 18, and then this interesting part of your life as you categorize it, right? Your mom's going through this eviction. So kind of take us from there, what you did and how it changed the outcome of your guys' future.
So I guess I was just very intentional from a very young age. I guess that's the only thing I could say. I mean, I never woke up one day, Paul, and was like, I'm gonna buy a house when I'm 18. That was not
Yeah.
on my bucket, not on my thing. It was just being intentional with my time, and just everything I did. So I was actually still a senior in high school. This was during COVID and everything.
Yeah.
I hadn't even graduated yet when this whole thing was going on. I was still in school. I was juggling school. I was also in sports, and then this happened, right? So from there on forward, right? I got approved. It wasn't an
Hmm.
easy. I had to rebuttal the bank. a few times. They were not giving me a loan. It was like incredibly hard for them to believe that I was gonna buy a property at 18 and all.
Right.
So it wasn't easy. It took me about 6 months. I'm not sure if you know, like, but usually you buy a house within 1 to 2 months. It took
Yeah.
me a very long journey. But moving on from there, I actually became a realtor. So that changed my life, right? I
Yeah.
became a realtor, not because of the money or anything like that. I became a realtor because I seen the way it changed my life. So I wanted
Hmm.
to help others change their lives too. So from there, I kind of just went into real estate.
So just like your mom, you have two jobs.
Yeah, it's just like, oh,
Yeah. All right.
that's just
So let's kind of talk about your journey in real estate, right? So you're kind of saying you got into it not just for the money, but also to kind of educate people. And I think that's a huge piece of my conversation with you that I kept hearing is education. Why is that so important to you?
because I mean, I don't want to get too like philosophical here, but I just think um education is free. I feel for
Mhm.
a lot. And it's very easy, people on the internet pick up things so quickly. You read something up and it's there and done. So I just think it should be for everyone. I think everybody should just have some type of knowledge, at least especially about credit. Like they are just basic necessities in life. I feel like we should all know. And it just comes from a lack of education, right? A lot of Hispanic parents either just, or just in general, like immigrants in general, just
Mhm.
they don't know about things. And I don't think it's they're ignorant. I just think it's more they just have no sort of education. And maybe it comes from different things in life, but I truly believe that like everybody should be educated on financial literacy and stuff like that. So that's why
Yeah.
I preach that so much because if my mom was educated, maybe things would have been differently, right? So I don't think it was her ignorance. I think it was more just an education. And I think that comes for a lot of immigrants in general. So yeah.
So would you say it's fair to say that the passion to educate comes from watching, your mom kind of struggle trying to figure things out, and then you going through a little bit of struggles, even to get the loan, right? Just to get cleared 6 months, right? Normally that's pretty quick for people to get cleared as long as you have good credit. So is that kind of where it comes from? I mean, why I'm trying to understand why you're so passionate about it. What affected you that made you like, you know what? I want to make sure everybody understands how this works.
Because no one should be in that position. I feel like no one deserves
Mhm.
to be in that position. And if you just don't know, if you're just ignorant, that's a different thing. But if you just lack a sort of education, then I just think no one deserves to be in that position. I'm thankful for what I went through because like I said, I
Mhm.
went through who I am today. But at the same time, I mean, I was 18, Paul, like it's not something
Yeah.
you like a lot of people do different things at 18. I wasn't even graduated in high school yet, and I was ready experiencing the real world. So
Well, you're crushing it. I mean, I bought my first house at 24, and I was the first in my family to buy a house at such a young age. And nobody here knows, but I'm actually mixed. And my mom's side of the family, my grandparents, they moved from Spain here. And so like education, is driven, you got to go to college, you got to go to college, you got to do this, you got to do that, right? Um, but education is still what that side of the family, that's all they talk about. And if you don't have a degree, you're almost kind of frowned upon anyway, right? Um, but
yeah,
the world's changing now. So that's kind of like I'm wondering how that future is going to roll out, where college education isn't as necessity as it was back when I was growing up, right? Um, but yeah, I think that I can see how that molded you to who you are, and I think that's amazing. Like, I think it's awesome that you want to educate, you want to give people the same opportunity that you allotted for yourself. You went out, researched it. Now I'm going to just give it to you, right? Um, Kind of diving back into the real estate side of things. Um, what got you involved, into real estate, and how did that journey go? Like, you know,
so for sure. So when I was purchasing my property and everything, I just thought it was
mhm.
really cool. Oh my God, realtor was so cool, this and
Yeah,
that.
and it's a fourplex, right?
No, it's
Oh,
like
it's a duplex. Okay.
but so that's totally. I have
Okay.
that. I
So I've
have
been asking the wrong people to borrow money from. Everybody throwing the one in the chat. I should be asking Pamela for money.
that. Yeah. Yeah, so got into real estate. So actually I did taxes for a little bit before I did real estate.
Did you? Wow. So you know that side too.
Yeah, so I actually did taxes for a little bit. And I was trying to get my real estate license since I turned 18, but I wasn't completely licensed until I turned, I want to say 19 turning 20. And it's funny because I'm actually at the same brokerage for the agent who helped me. So
Mhm.
we're all in the same brokerage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we're all there together.
You want to give a shout out to your brokerage?
Remax, it's just her name's Diana.
All
I
right.
She was the one who, put me into those steps. And honestly, like going back into that too, Paul, when I was purchasing, I told
Mhm.
myself I'm not buying a single family home. I have to buy a multi-unit.
Right.
I'm not gonna live there for 30 years. I want to buy my house when I'm, ready and everything.
Mhm.
So that's why I bought the multi-unit. But real estate's fun. I mean, I was top producer in real estate. I do pretty
Mhm.
good over there too. Crushed it in the listing side of things. I think there's other realtors on this chat too. But I
Okay.
did more listings than I did work with buyers. And that was like my sort of thing. I think it helped me. It's actually kind of how I found this insurance agency through real
Yeah.
estate.
Okay. Tell us that story.
Yeah, so Ion, Mr. Ion, that's how I found out about insurance
You
in a
sold
way.
his house or
So in the practice company there was a other like agency owner, and I actually had a podcast with him. So
Mhm.
I did ask him, talked about that. Then a few months came by later, right? And I seen all these insurance people making so much money, and I was like, oh my gosh, let me educate them, Paul. So
Yeah.
I did a seminar with him and a mortgage loan officer.
Uh,
So went to the practice company. I hosted a seminar. I talked about the importance of not spending your
investing the money into
yeah,
real
investing
estate.
your money, not going and buying Gucci and Louis Vuitton and all that stuff. Like go,
Hey,
buy
hey, preach that here. What should we do with our money?
yeah, you
We
guys
should invest it.
invest your money. So that's what I want to go talk about at the practice company. And
Mhm.
I met Ion. So Ion was sitting there, nice, educating with his own notepad and everything. And then he came up to me and he was actually looking to because he does Airbnb too. So he was looking to get like something for his Airbnb.
Yeah.
And months went by, right? And we still had that some type of contact and all that. I don't know if you heard about the NER settlement with the commissions and stuff. Do you know a little bit?
I have, but I'll let you talk about that because you're a professional. I
Yeah.
just hear things.
So NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors, had this settlement happen. They were getting sued because the way that the commission works on the real estate side is you have the sellers usually pay the commissions on both sides.
Mhm.
So if you pay 5% commission, 6% or 4% commission, it's split in half. Let's just be simple here, 5%, right? So the
Mhm.
seller is the one that pays the buyer's agent, and then obviously they pay the listing agent as well. But there's a whole settlement that the people didn't know where the money was coming from and this and that.
Mhm.
So it's a controversial topic, but to me, I mean, I was looking more listings, so I was gonna get paid regardless. But now it's not on the
Right.
MLS. It's just it's different now. So I know it's scared a lot of realtors. So a lot
It
of realtors
did. Yeah.
of the industry. So that's where Ion came in, and he's like, "Hey, I have an opportunity. Let's talk. Let's chit chat." And
Right.
and it made sense for me. So
Yeah.
I already sold home.
It's great. He's a great guy, great teacher, great educator. I think you're in a great team. Yeah, I think you picked the right spot for sure.
He's a great guy. I really appreciate him. But yeah, I mean, it made sense for me. I mean, I know there's other realtors here too, but I already sold homes, so selling mortgage protection. I was like my business brings me business. That's
S-
like
So are you still selling homes too?
I'm here and there. I'm trying to exit, but obviously I need to make financial great choices before I can completely, emphasize here. But
So you want to come into this full time instead of kind of doing both.
yeah, I do.
Mhm.
I love real estate, but I'm sure other realtors here know it is a very mental toll and time consuming, right? I know for here, I want to just shut my laptop off. I'm kind of just done for the day. Real estate,
Right.
7 days a week. It is driving here and there. It takes 30 to 45 days to get paid. I love real estate, but I think real estate's great on the investor side. On the brokering side, it's a whole different animal.
Well,
So
you can make a lot of money here and use it on the investment side for sure.
that's my goal, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of guys I could tell you specifically that I know that have taken this cash flow from this business and applied it into real estate investing. So I think you got a smart plan going. and you know, even as you're making the transition, you could still sell your client's mortgage protection, which is great too, you know. So I think you're running it the right way. I think that's really what makes you so amazing is even though you still have two jobs like your mom, like you've got things kind of plotted and planned out. And I think that's important for people. And I hope that's what they get from this is that one is sort of having a vision and then putting it down on paper, the steps that it's going to take to reach that vision. And then lastly, having the discipline to do those things every day to get there.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's what you kind of, you know, show the world without saying it, you know, like you wouldn't be where you're at today if you didn't apply those things. So I think that's what makes it pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think it's just
Um,
intentional, Paul. I think just
yeah.
everything in life, it's very intentional.
Mhm.
I started working 16. Now, little did I know I was going to need that when I turned 18, right?
Right. You didn't know. Yeah. This was, you didn't foresee. And how many 16-year-olds are foreseeing challenges? The older we get, we're used to, okay, at some point something's gonna fall or fail and I'm gonna have to fix, right? So I think you get kind of get that with wisdom, but you were taught that at a very young age. And you took an initiative that I don't think most 18-year-olds do. Like, mom's getting evicted. Okay, where are we moving to next? Right? Not how do I solve this problem so it never happens again? Right? Like, that's another level. And I think we throw a two in the chat for her on that because I mean that's just very forward thinking. Um, but yeah, I think that's like you say, the word intentional, right? That's I can see that's your key word. You like that word intentional, but you're very intentional. You're making sure stuff gets done. Um,
Yeah.
let's kind of dive in a little bit into your transition into insurance here, right? You're still sort of new. How long have you been with us?
Um, Shoot, that's a good question. I want to say like 3 months. I think we're at three months, 4 months.
Okay. Perfect. Exactly who I want to talk to. As your experience being brand new to this team and this culture, what's sort of been your journey with it? And it gives us both the pros and the cons, the ups and the downs. What's the experiences that you've had?
Yeah, for sure. So, I think I have a slight of an advantage just because I already came from sales. So I know
Hmm.
what it's like. It is a little bit different for me though, just because it's all telesales and I'm
Right.
in person with
Used to
people
in person. Yeah.
person and like all that. So that I think I've had a leverage because of that, already being in sales, figuring out the situation, stuff like that. But I will say something. I do really appreciate the amount of support that there is here. Because when I first started in real estate, I didn't sell my first home until like I think 6 months into it. And I was doing things on my own. I was figuring out how to do phone calls. I was doing, there's no scripts for me. It was just like I
Right.
build everything here. And I think it's beautiful here how things are already in place. Like you already have a script. You already have somebody who, like our leaders, like Harold, already built something. And really just if you keep it simple, like he says, and stay to the
Yeah.
plan, there's no way you can't succeed.
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful coming into here because in real estate, yes, it's sales, yes, it's the same thing, but I don't recall having any type of guidance like that. So I think that's been an incredible thing for me too. And I really appreciate the CRM too, because since I am part-time, that helps a lot. I didn't have that in real estate. So I think there's a lot of resources here that are very good. I think everyone should take advantage of those. So
It's
yeah.
crazy you say that too, because I have a lot of friends that are in real estate that are just now starting to use CRM systems. And it's crazy because I learned about them here maybe 2 years ago, maybe three. I don't know how long I've been here. Samir would have to answer that question. But yeah, it's a great system, right? I mean, that makes things a lot smoother. The only downside or caveat to it is I think some people just use it when you should still probably dial, and then that doubles your appointments to make it even better, right? But yeah, I think it's a great system. I think it's phenomenal, and it's exciting to see where technology is going to take us even a year from now. You know, um, it's just crazy. I sent something to Samir the other day in regards to like Elon Musk creating his own phone, which I don't know if it's actually true or not, but just seeing how AI and AI technology is going to change the game. And if you're not up on it, you get left behind. Just like with anything in time, right? The technology changes. If you don't adapt, you're out. And in accordance to that, what what kind of changes in your life have you had to adopt, in order to stay relevant? And you could talk about it in real estate or just in life in general. What things would you say?
Oh, my like internet cut off there. What did you say?
Oh, no problem. I was saying in life, right, you have to adopt things. that, like into new technologies or new systems in order to stay relevant. In your life in your career, both in real estate, I'm sure not quite much is yet here. What things have you had to change about yourself in order to kind of, elevate your game?
I love that question. Some reason I love this question too. I love social media now. Was not a big fan of it before, and I'm young, but I actually do not like social media. But social media helped me a lot in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
It was like posting videos, whether it was promoting myself. I think the marketing side of things is very important. I think Elijah talked about that in Vegas. How it's important to have, because here it's like it's your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's also very important for you to market yourself so you can, promote your business. I don't remember his analogy, but it's something about an engine. But I
Okay.
think like yeah, like the marketing side, social media, I really like it now because it's helped me get my name out there, right? Promote me. It's helped me, AI, I think AI is cool too. I'm just getting accustomed to it. I feel like
Are you
it'll,
using the chat GTP?
oh yeah, I love ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Like for my listings, do you know how easy
Yeah.
it is to punch in 4 bedroom, 2 bed homes, and it gives you like a whole description? I just like I love ChatGPT.
Copy paste, copy
Top,
paste. Yeah.
top things.
I'm listing 10 houses now. This is much easier.
Literally. So I really do enjoy that. I don't feel like I've made so much changes. I think we should take advantage of social media. It's free. It's free, so it's like why not like promote yourself, get your name out there.
What was your biggest transition from selling houses to selling insurance? What was the biggest challenge for you to overcome?
The biggest challenge for me to overcome, like I said, I think it's just the in-person to telesales because
Dive
I
into more. How is that different? Like, how is it different from in person? What have you had to change about yourself?
have my hands on that ball. Like I'm here like this. You can hear a
Oh,
bright smile on my face. Like I just like I appreciate being in person with somebody. So now that we're
yeah.
over, you can't see my face. Obviously, tone is a big thing. And I guess I'm learning now how to more appreciate my tone. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, that's a big thing for me because I could
Have you
just
caught on to listening to their tone to catch when objections might come up?
yeah. I think I'm a very personable person as well, and I think
Mhm.
that's a lot of my sales here. Just because I am so personable, and I think people make me feel more comfortable,
Yeah.
talking. So that's helped me. But I like being in person with people. So the whole telesales thing is different for me. But I can't be in, Italy selling real estate. So I do appreciate that. It can work from anywhere. So
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of us started in person to person, right? And I think it's good that you had that experience because I see a lot of the top agents were from person to person, right? And I'm not saying all, right? We have some, killer people, but a lot come from that person to person. And I think it's all about preparation, right? Because when we were in person to person, we had to memorize the script. We had to know what we were talking about because you have them right in front of you, right? Where now you can kind of cheat a little bit, you can read the script. And I think that's kind of what puts you on the back burner compared to maybe someone else who's memorized and properly, right? So I think that's going to exactly help you more, as an agent that you've had that person to person. The toughest thing that I saw all of us agents go through when we had that transition. This all happened in COVID, by the way, Pamela. Like we went from person to person. COVID happened, 30 days, no work. Everybody had to figure out what the heck are we going to do, and it immediately went to Zoom, where we still did person to person, but on Zoom. And then we went from Zoom to telesales, right? But in that transition, we had to figure out, okay, one, when you're person to person, people are willing to take more time out of their day, right? And then with telesales, people don't want to be on the phone that long. So I got to figure out one, how to create, this trust between me and them so they understand I'm here to help them. Figure out their why they really need it, tap on it enough that I, as we know, life insurance is an emotional sell, tap on it enough that I can get the sell. And I think what's great about Harold's script, just to kind of put a notch in there for Harold, is that he created this full script that kind of does all that for you. So as long as you don't deviate from the script, you're pretty much good to go. So I think you're in a great position, Pamela. I think having that person to person, it's going to make you a better salesperson. I do. I truly believe that. Yep.
yeah, That's why I said the resources here are great because in real estate, I mean, we don't have like those like sort of scripts. It's more just kind of figure it on your own and call
Yeah.
it. That's great that we have that here.
But even if you didn't have it, I think everybody can still crush it. It's just about preparation, making sure that you memorize and learn the script so you know it. And that way you're listening to the client and you can hear those tonalities and you can hit, before rebuttals come, or you can address situations before they come, right? I think that's really the name of the game. Remember, I think all we're doing at the end of the day is finding the problem and solving it. So you do it in real estate, you do it here. Shoot, you did it for your mom. She ain't have to worry about eviction unless you're gonna evict her. And if that happens, I think we're all coming for you.
That's something cool. No, yeah, that is
Yeah,
true. Good way to look at things, right? It's just
yeah. So in your first, like, say, 90 days here, right? What's some things that you feel like you still need to do in order to get to that next level?
I think it just comes down to me committing to this full time because I am the type of person that when I do something, I need to go all in.
Well,
I know I'm managing two right now, but I am the type of person who like, sees it, goes right at it. Like when I went into real estate, I had some money saved, but I went right in. Crushed it obviously, but I went
yeah.
right. That's like the type of person I am. So I think it just comes down to me committing to this full time and really seeing things out, how things will go. I think
Do you have your month planned for next month? Like how many days you're working, how many hours you're working, and a goal of submit AP that you want to hit?
Yeah, that's why I really appreciate Ion too. Kind of to go back a little bit, but even when we talked about me going into insurance, we
Mhm.
were he went to my office and we were there till like I want to say like 12 a.m. just planning, well, saying what I had
Wow.
to, go from one thing to another, how real estate could, leverage insurance and all that. So I'm great to be, with him because we do that on a monthly basis. We have our one-on-ones. I also have like my own personal goals. And yeah, there's a certain AP I need to hit, but I also want to have a sufficient amount of money in the bank where I could do that and still, pay my bills and still do what I need to do. So just make financial.
So what's your number for next month?
That's a great question, Paul. Um, I mean,
Because
depends.
if you say it here, you have to, because everybody's here, everybody.
I want to hit like 20 to 25 AP. I think that's still
20 or 25.
25. Let's
Huh?
do it. 20 or 25, 25 AP.
25. Okay, okay. So we all heard that, right? Throw a 25 in the chat if you heard Pamela say it. So that way on December 1st we can hold her to it.
For
Dang,
sure.
look at everybody. Everybody's got you. Wow, that's a lot of 25s there. Ion wasn't even the first one. Oh, somebody put 30. Zeke said 30.
Oh,
Well,
issue
if
pay.
you
Yes.
issue paid, say
It needs to be.
Anthony's so technical. It was great having him as a guest. All
Yeah.
right, so let's say this, right? Let's say you hit your 25 this month, and then next month, are you going up by 5 every month
Have to,
going
Paul.
forward? Okay, I'm just asking. I don't know.
Have to. Yeah. 25, 30, 35. Yeah, that's the goal.
Okay. All right. So we should be seeing you on the FFL board real soon, like within 6 months of top producer, it sounds like. So let's kind of, you know, talk about what you think for new agents, right? You've been here 90 days. What's some suggestions or advice or game that you would give a brand new agent that just came in the door?
Um, well, I'll say to everybody, I think it's just having faith in yourself. I know, like, especially if you're a new agent who's never been in sales. I know Leia's actually, she's one of my downlines, and she's never been in sales. Like,
Mhm.
she came from retail to now she's in sales, and I try to, I'm not going to, I'll say this to say that, again, Ion, I really appreciate Ion, because when I came into the business, a
Mhm.
lot of people were trying to, I guess, recruit me into insurance.
Right.
Um, I already had experience in sales, and they were, telling me I was going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I was going to do all this and that, and
Right.
things that weren't true. So I really appreciate him because he was honest with me. So I think just as a new agent is just to have some faith in yourself. Things don't come easy. Diamonds are under pressure, right? Just believe in yourself. Listen. I think you have to be, coachable too. Be okay with. I know some people don't want to hear anything, but it's important for us to hear certain things so that we can not only develop but become a better person of ourselves. So just be coachable. Listen to your uplines and do what you need to do. Have faith in yourself. It's not going to be an easy road. Me in real estate, I didn't sell my first house until 6 months. And when I tell you, Paul, I needed to sell a freaking house. Like I needed to sell a house. I had bills, but I kept my head up, kept doing my thing. And eventually, I sold more homes. So yeah.
And anybody who's in what is it, the Chicago area,
Chicago, Illinois, I guess.
Illinois area, if you need your household, definitely check out Pamela. She's got you covered. Obviously, she uses ChatGTP, so it makes it real simple, real quick to list your house.
Yes.
Yeah, not much time wasted there. Just sign the contract and she'll get it done for you.
I take pictures and videos too. Okay. My videos come out too.
You take the pictures or do you hire a videographer to go in the house and take pictures?
Well, same difference to me. But yeah, I have a videographer.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so your advice basically is, reach up to your upline, but more importantly, just having the strength and the fortitude to go through the rough spots till you get to the end of the road there, or let's call it the beginning, really, right? Like it's where this, getting to the sunset. You're trying to make some money. And how long did it take you to make your first sale here with us?
So I sold my first sale before I was released. But that's because it was
Yeah, we
my
got to edit that. That didn't happen. No, just kidding. So how did you do that?
what was my own it was my own referral from real estate. So
Oh, okay.
my
So
first I got from an HMP.
let's say from like an actual bot lead instead of someone you knew.
It was a good question. I want to say like a month. I feel like it was yeah, right on board with it. Not even. Yeah, maybe like a month, like a month.
Not working full time, not banging the phones, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
nice. And then that's she was writing all her real estate agent clients first. That's what Harold said. Harold chimed in. Yeah,
Yeah.
Harold, she wants to sell your house, that $4.6 million house of yours. And then if you could, please, on your next house, get mortgage protection through her.
Thank you, Bob.
Hey, just trying to look out for you. I don't sell houses, so it couldn't be me. Well, let's kind of end this on a note here. Um, what would you say to young women out there, right? If they're like looking to find a job or something, or maybe they just want inspiration or something to get through a tough time. What is it that you do for yourself that helps you overcome these challenges that you've come up on at such a young age?
That's a great question, Paul. I come from a household, and I'll say this again, from a single mom, and I'm very independent. And
Mhm.
I think sometimes us as women, I think it's important to have some type of independence, regardless if it's just if you have an education or whatever it is, but have something for you besides, just, being a typical person, have something for you as a woman. And I just think everything's possible. I mean, times have changed, Paul. Women can do a lot of things, and I'm very big on we can sell. I mean, women in sales do great. I know there's not a lot of women in sales now. I mean, it's still very male dominated, industry. But
Mhm.
women who are in sales usually typically crush it, right? Because, we already,
Typically, they're the best. Yeah,
yeah, we
yeah.
typically crush it. And I go for that, women should stay together. Um, I think anything's possible. And yeah, just keep doing your thing. I mean, there's not much I can really say about that, Paul. I just think we're all equal.
But when you're going through like a challenge yourself, you personally, how do you overcome it? Let's say it feels like the whole weight is on your shoulder. Is there something that you say to yourself or something that you look to that helps you keep that sort of positive attitude to overcome the challenge?
I just think that no challenge is bigger than challenges I've already faced in life.
Yeah.
Um, so I've gone through it. I feel like at a very young age, I've experienced things that some people don't experience until they're 30, 40. And I look at that, and it's not even like an ego thing, but I look at that, and I'm like, I've already gone through all that. I'm pretty sure I can go through this. It's not an easy road. It's never going to be an easy road, but as a woman, as a person, as an individual, we can continue doing it. Not to get God in here, but like God wouldn't put something in place if you couldn't, succeed, if you couldn't do it. So yeah.
So it
Yeah.
sounds like belief is in God for you is like a really big piece, a big component for your life.
Yeah.
Is that fair to
100%.
say?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's important to have faith in something, right? I really do. Like it's it's faith that gets us through the unforeseen, I think.
For sure. So,
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks Pamela so much for jumping on. Really appreciate you. Um, and thank Ion for allowing us to interview you. We really appreciate all that you told us.
no problem.
See you guys next time.